Hello everyone. So before we start, let us pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Panginoon, salamat po sa lahat. Salamat po sa mga blessings na pinakalob niyo po sa amin. Salamat po sa pagpapatawad, Panginoon. Salamat po sa pagkapay po sa amin kahit makasalanan po kami, Panginoon. Salamat po sa mga pagkain po, sa mga tubig, sa mga taong laging nandito po sa amin, Panginoon, upang i-lift up po kami, Panginoon. Salamat po talaga, Panginoon. Panginoon, humihingi po kami ng kapatawaran sa mga nagawa po namin kasalanan, sa mga nasasabi namin masasama, sa mga ginagawa namin masasama, at sa mga hindi po namin alam na ginagawa namin na masasama, Panginoon. Patawarin niyo po sana kami, Panginoon. Ang tanging hiling po lang namin, Panginoon, ay ang good health ng aming pamilya, Panginoon. Gabayan niyo po yung mga pamilya namin na wala dito, Panginoon, dahil nagtatrabaho sa ibang bansa o nagtatrabaho sa malayong lugar, Panginoon. Bigyan niyo po sila ng lakas upang magpatuloy sa buhay, Panginoon. Huwag niyo po silang papabayaan, Panginoon. At hiling ko din, Panginoon, na sana yung mga taong nasaktan po, Panginoon, sana po bigyan niyo po sila ng lakas upang magpatuloy, Panginoon. Bigyan niyo po sila ng healing, Panginoon. Sana po mahinga po sila sa mga pinagdadaanan po nila ngayon, Panginoon. Alam ko mabibigat, Panginoon, pero alam ko po na dyan kayo parati sa kanila, Panginoon, para gabayan sila at bigyan sila ng lakas, Panginoon. Yun lamang po, at maraming salamat, Panginoon. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So let's start! Blessed be God forever. Good day, sir. Good day, classmates. I am Abigail Slendra Ignacio. So in this video, we will be reporting about the training techniques, fundamental skills, and drills in playing volleyball. But before that, I will introduce to you my group members: Angel D. Iscaro, Cherilyn Ilag, Isabel G. Illuran, Jessel K. Ferrer, Ria May de la Cruz, Rose Ann Oro, and of course, Sheena Marie Orozco. This topic includes necessary information about volleyball, such as its skills and techniques. The skills and techniques must be learned and observed to enhance performance, just like in any other sport. The most important element is skills and techniques. In volleyball, techniques plays a crucial role, and it takes a relatively long time to master it. Without a correct individual techniques of every player, no team can even think about performance that they and their coach wants to achieve. So the first reporter is Angel D. Iscaro.
Good day, everyone, and thank you, Ms. Abigail. For now, let us proceed to the general principles of fitness training. And those are: first, the specificity; second, we have the overload and adaptation principle; third is the recovery; and lastly, we have the reversibility principle. First is the specificity. Specificity refers to whether the training is relevant. Specificity principle: the trainer needs to prepare the session to the most similar to the competition in the physical training with the strength and resistance required during the sports practice. Relevant power training, like aerobic training, is the most important session for the athlete because this training for the athlete practices higher loads in the other training pace. In the volleyball, the physical training more important for the volleyball player is the strength training. Overall, the specificity principle is useful to guide the training. Next, we have the overload and adaptation principle. Fitness can only be improved by training more than you normally do. In these principles, it indicates that you need to force your body beyond the thresholds that is used to get better, stronger, or quicker. By this, it will adjust you, give time to recover by its capacity to cope with those loads of training. The body will respond to the training loads imposed. Over time, the body becomes accustomed to exercising at a given level. This adaptation results to improved efficiency, less efforts, and less muscle breakdown at that level. Next, we have the recovery. The body cannot repair itself without a rest and a time to recover. The recovery might not mean sleeping. The muscles are going to recover from hard training by just resting. And lastly, we have the reversibility principle. If you discontinue application of a particular exercise like running 5 miles or bench pressing 150 pounds 10 times, you will lose the ability to successfully complete that exercise. The body will not only stop changing, but the mechanism will go backward and changes will be lost. That's all. And the next topic is the methods of training to be reported by my colleague, Miss Ilan. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Iscaro. Methods of training. Aerobic. In aerobic exercise, which is steady and not too fast, the heart is able to supply enough oxygen to the muscle. Aerobic training improves cardiovascular fitness. Anaerobic. Anaerobic exercise is performed in short, fast bursts. Here the heart cannot supply enough oxygen to the muscles. Anaerobic training improves the ability of the muscles to work without enough oxygen when lactic acid is produced. Cross-training. Cross-training involves using another sport or activity to improve your fitness. It happens when athlete trains a different environment. Like in volleyball, players use to power training to help with fitness for long jump. Weight training uses weights to provide resistance to the muscles. It improves muscular strength, high weight, low reps, muscular endurance, low weight, high reps, many sets, and power medium weight and reps performed quickly. Plyometric exercises. Plyometric exercises, explosion type exercises, 10 to 15 reps. These exercises are quite difficult and will take some time to get accustomed to. Just make sure to take things one day at a time.
Good day everyone. In this moment, I will discuss the fundamental skills in volleyball. So, we have the serving. To serve is to put the ball in play. To start every rally is one skill that is under total control. It is a form of attack because with a strong and tough serve, it can put pressure on the opponents. In addition, the serve is not only an offensive weapon that can score points, but a defensive one as well by causing the receiver to make bad pass to the setter. In serving, there is a consistency, the toes with finger, arm back, weight transfer, watch the ball, lead with elbow, accelerate arm up and swing parallel with floor, contact, center of ball, and lastly the rest back. So first is the consistency. In consistency, serving principle being required being consistent, accurate, and aggressive. So before serving, concentrate, observe opponents, and choose target. And the second is before tossing the ball, should be comfortable distance from the body and server should be confident. And the second one is the toes with finger. In toes with finger, server position toes arm swing and contact must always be consistent. Pay attention to tossing the ball low without spin in front of sprinting shoulder. And the third one is arm back. In arm back, toes and step left foot should occur at the same time. Our position should toes lock like bow and arrow in order to accelerate the ball. And the fourth is the weight transfer. In weight transfer is front foot, just like that. And striking should is rotated high and hand moves away from the ball. And the fifth one is keep the wrist rigid with the flat hand. But keep forearm and shoulder relaxed, and this leads to maximum acceleration.
Thank you, Miss Christine Choi Lariano and Miss Isabel Eliran. So now I will discuss the serving styles. First is underhand serve. For the ready position, face target, non-dominant foot forward, hold ball with non-dominant hand palm up at knee level in line with swinging arm, weight on back foot, and eyes on the ball. For pre-contact, swing hitting arm back at the same time, shift your weight to your back foot. And for the contact, shift weight forward and take small step forward with your foot on the side where you are holding the ball. Strike the ball with staff palm and open hand. Make contact with the lower half of the ball so that it lifts. Next is follow through. Follow through the ball with your swinging arm straight toward the targets.
The number 2 of serving style is passing. First, to be prepared to make a contact with the ball, your entire body should be relaxed, with your upper body bent forward. Pay attention to the opponent who is passing the ball to you, as well as the speed and path of the approaching ball. Move quickly under the ball in a low posture with arms stretched out. Keep your elbows at your sides and your hands clasped together. To create a flat surface, the inside of the forearms should be pointing upward. Second, extend both arms and deflect the ball to your target, whether the ball comes directly in front, low, off to one side, or high. And lastly, observe the path of the ball for feedback for a moment. Then quickly move on to the next skill you are expected to do. Forearm pass or the bump pass. First, ready position. Player is relaxed with shoulders square to the ball, feet slightly wider the shoulder with knees flexed. The trunk is leaning forward slightly with arms in front of the body. Pre-contact. Arms straighten and hand grip together to form a flat contact surface from wrist to elbow. Knees are bent 90 degrees. One foot is slightly in front of the other. Contact. Arms are straight and form a 90 degrees angle with the trunk. The trunk is straight with a forward lean. The ball contacts both forearms 80 points slightly above the wrist. Arms stay together and straight as they swing slightly upward and forward as contact is made. Follow through. The body moves forward towards the target. The player should return to the ready position in preparation for the next action. Overhead pass. So the first is ready position. The player moves under the ball. The feet should be slightly wider than shoulder with one foot slightly ahead of the other. Hands are placed just above the forehead in a triangle position. Elbows should be bent and facing out. Second, contact. Eyes stay on the ball through the triangle. Contact with the ball is made with fingers only, not palms. The ball is kept above the forehead throughout the motion. Third, push. Push is made with arms and legs until the body is fully extended. The arm's action will determine the ball's direction. Lastly, follow through. Arms push until they are fully extended, wrists do not flick. Once the pass is completed, the player returns to the ready position.
Thank you, Ms. Pidetrante. So, my topic is all about spiking. The attack is one of the most exciting part of the game. The attack is done usually on the third contact, which it could be a smash or a spike. Tips or drink, the spike is the most common attack. To spike is to put away the ball from the top of the net with considerable force towards the opponent's court. Mechanics of the spike. First is preparation. A player must stand on the attack line facing the net. Next is execution. Approach the net at a 45-degree angle with 2 steps and a quicker third step. Squat low and take off upward with the 2 feet. As the jump is made, bring the hitting arm as for a throwing action. Keep the elbow high. Bring the arm down over the ball with a snap of the elbow and wrist. Strike the ball palm first, followed by the fingers that are brought into contact with the ball by the final wrist snap. Follow through. Follow through is in direction of the intended flight and then swing downward. Avoid touching the net with hand. How to spike. Fingers open. Ball contact, wrist extended aft and over. Contact point is based on hand to palm to fingers. Fingers are spread wide for control. Shoulder rotates. Shoulder rotates forward and up towards the ball. Elbow follow shoulder and remain high, hand is back with palm towards ceiling. Elbow fully extends. Elbow fully extends as ball is contracted above and in front, striking shoulders. Wrist extend up and over ball. Eye focus on the center of ball. Fingers involved. Shoulder is stretched up and forward during follow through. For ankle spike, wrist rim from inside to outside. The ball to spin. For ankle spike, follow through continues outside of the body. Left arm has moved down and towards body to maintain balance. Eyes follow the ball. So our next reporter is Miss Ross Ann-Oro.
Thank you, Ms. De La Cruz, and once again, I am Rose Ann-Oro, and I am here to discuss the mechanics of the block. First is the ready position. The blocker starts at the net with the feet parallel and balance, and the arms are held high and with spread fingers. The next one is see the passer in the type of service receive, reaching the setter, and read the hitter and do not watch the ball. And the next one is preparation. Before jumping, the blocker should position in front of the spiker's favorite angle of attack. Always jump to where spiker has made his last jump. And the next one is take off. Jump at least a meter from the net. The hand should penetrate over the net. The rule is eyes up, head down, or keep the eyes open all the time. And the next one is contact. The hand should be facing downward and they should be strong and are angled towards the opponent's floor. And the next one is follow through. The blocker lands, turn back quickly to assist in defense or back pedal for a transition play. And lastly, blockers rule in the game. Spikers and they resist the urge to look at the ball. Line up in front of the spiker as they run in. Jump straight up with 2 feet. Spread your fingers and hands to make them as big as possible. Reach over the net as far as possible. And lastly, don't touch the ball until after the spike. That's all for the mechanics of the block. And now we are going to proceed to footwork drill, block transition hit that we're going to discuss by Miss Shana Marie Oresco and Angel Escaro.
We have block transition hit. Volleyball transition is one important skill that often gives troubles for the players. It is challenging to transition from a blocker to an offensive player after the team defense has managed to dig the ball up. Defense to hitting transition outside hitter defense. Hitting transition volleyball drill. The objectives are use repetition to practice transitioning from defense to offense. Second is hitter starts at the net. Next, coach laps ball and player transitions to defense. Next, coach hits a ball to the player. Next, coach tosses a ball to the hitter. And last, repeat a set number of times, 10 or 5. And these are the variations. First, add one or more blockers close a part of the court to the hitter, or make hitter hit line or cross. From blocker to hitter, when starting to practice transition, test how many steps you need to take after your block to back up to the hitting position, because most players get back to hitting position with 3 steps. Volleyball transition, from blocker to defense to hitter. The standard left to side volleyball transition, from blocker to hitter. Repeating the standard transition helps you to learn the technique when it is introduced. However, the players need to be exposed to transitions in the game like drills, because your transition could be slightly different in the match. Volleyball transition example: left side player, volleyball transition steps. After landing, a player turns around facing the court and takes a big step with the right foot. It depends on the length of the step, but the foot could be placed somewhere around 4 to 6 feet off the net. The player takes another step and places left foot on the ground. The foot could be around 7 to 9 feet off the net. On the third step, the player turns around to face the net again. The right foot lands around 11 to 12 foot of the net, being ready to start a hitting approach, right to left and right to left. The right side players perform this as a mirror image. Middle's transitions are also very similar on the left side as the left side spiker, and on the right side as the right side spiker.
Thank you, Miss Uro. Now let us proceed in the footwork drills that great for warm-ups. First, we have the jump rope. One of the best footwork drills. Have players do a combination of regular 2-footed jumps, 1-footed jumps, running jumps, where they are actually running in place through the jump rope. Be careful that they are not skipping rope here, but actually running in place. Second is we have the clocks. Player create an imaginary clock on the floor and place themselves facing 12 in the center of the clock, where the hour and second hands intersect. Using only the numbers 12, 3, 6, and 9, players will move to and from those code locations on the clock with the transition footwork they would use in the game each time the player reaches 12, 3, 6, or 9 spot. She goes into a ready position and stimulates passing the ball. Do her footwork back to the center of the clock and repeats playing the ball. For variety, add other activities to certain numbers. Third, we have the line jumps. Players need to find the line on the floor, Have them do a sequence of 25 jumps side to side over the line on the 2 feet. Then 25 jumps side to side on the right, then 25 jumps side to side on the left. These jumps should be quick, touch and go. This can be done for time with the sequence being repeated until the time is up, or can be used as station or circuit drill. Fourth is we have plus jumps. Players need to find a place on the floor where the two lines or seams intersect to form a plus. Players start in one quadrant of the plus, perhaps the lower left one, and jump clockwise into each quadrant of the plus. Have them do a sequence of 25 touches to the floor with 2 feet, 25 touches on the right, 25 touches on the left, and then reverse the direction and jump around the plus counterclockwise.
Conditioning warm-up drills. Stations. Split your team into 4 groups. You can add a 5th group in the center of the court if you have more players. At each station, the players will perform a different task. For example, at station number 1, they will do jump rope. At station number 2, they will do crunches, set-ups. At station number 3, they will do tank jump. And at station number 4, they will do wall sets. You can make these stations anything you want. Set-ups, line jump, blocking, push-up, mountain climbers, and etc. Work the court. Modify this as needed according to your players' abilities. The objectives is move around the entire court quickly and to incorporate some volleyball skills and some conditioning elements. Players start in right back. They sprint the 10-foot line, run and play the ball. Players need to get a partner and a ball and line up on the volleyball end line. One side of the net only. One of the partners will be the control player C, and the other will be the active player X. X begins at the end line and runs or sprints depending on how difficult you want. 10-foot line sets. Split your team into 2 teams. One on each side is the net. All players are between the 10-foot line and the net. The boundaries for this game are the usual sidelines. But the 10-foot line is now the end line. Players can pass or overhand the first ball, pass to set the second ball, and the set or tip the third ball over the net to the opposing.
So again, I am Isabel Eliran and I will discuss the ball handling drills. So in ball handling drills, we have the 6 parts. So the first one is the up and back or side to side. The second one is the figure 8 or passing or overhand. And the number 3 is cross-court passing or also a setting. And the number 4 is the person passing or also a setting. And the number 5 at the net or great drill to end practice with. And the lastly one is the zigzag passing or also a setting. So in the first part is the up and back side to side. Well, the players should partner up, or one is the control player or the player C. So and the other is the active player, which is the player P. The control player now player C tosses or passes a short ball to area, and the player P runs up and passes the ball back to C. And the player C is going to toss or pass a long ball back to area. So the number 2 for figure 8 passing or overhand is divided your team into 2 single file line facing another or one another. So to start with 4 passing and have the first player in one line pass, first player in the other line. So after passing the ball, the player runs to the right and up to the end, the line they just passed to. Number 3, which is the cross-court passing or setting. So this, we're going to divide your team into 4 groups and have the team line up on one side of the net as shown in the diagram. So again, the number 4 is the person passing or the setting. So you are going to divide your team into the groups of 3 and have them line up in a single file line about 10 feet apart. So from one another with player A is facing player B, and player B with her back is going to facing the player A. So to start the ball with A, she going to pass or set to B, who back set pass to player C. So the player C then set back over B and back to player A. Have the B player contact 10 balls and then have the players switch and repeat until all 3 players have taken a turn in the middle. So in the number 5 at the net, or the great drill to end the practice with. So when you slap the ball all the back of the net and into the random location on the court, you toss or serve the ball and they play it according to the instruction below. The 6th one is the zigzag passing. So have your players line up facing one of other approximately 10 feet apart and the kind of zigzag.
Now we will proceed to the serve-receive drills. First is the pass, target, and shag. Players are in passing lines coming out of right and left back, and there should also be several players in the setting target position at the net, one target for each passing line. Coaches serve to their respective passing line, and those passers attempt to pass to their respective target. Players rotate through after each attempt to play the ball. Passers become targets. Targets shag the ball and give to coach, and then fill in the end of the passing line. Next player in the passing line becomes the new passer. Go through a few times without counting and then see which line can get 10 good passes first. So for the leader of the pack, 2 players begin as passers in right and left back, and one is at the setting target. The remaining players are waiting to begin the drill and are also shagging balls. Coach serves the ball to the serve-receive side, and passers attempt to pass to target. Passers get a point for every target pass. If the passers makes a totally unplayable pass, he or she is out of the drill, and a new player rotates into the passing spot. If he or she makes a playable pass, but it is not to target, he or she stays in the drill but does not receive a point. Players keep a running total of their points even though they may rotate out of the drill due to an errant pass. The first player to tally 5 points or whatever goal the coach sets becomes the leader of the pack. So the next serve-receive drill is the 2-minute drill. Split the team into groups. Each group will have a server, server 1 and server 2, and a hander, hander 1 and hander 2. Servers will be serving to their own passers. So server 1 will serve to passer 1 and server 2 will serve to passer 2. Passers pass to the targets. Targets should be where your setter would be. Servers serve to their passers for 2 minutes straight. Targets shag the passes and roll the balls to the handers, who make sure their server always has a ball. When time is up, have players rotate in their group. Server to passer, passer to target, target to hander, and hander becomes the new server. Take note that players follow the ball in the drill. Repeat the drill until each player has had a chance to serve. The next serve-receive drill is the wave-through drill. Have the players line up in 3 lines or in 2 lines if you use the W formation, where there are 2 players in the back on serve-receive and the setter is from the back row. Coach serves to the players in receive in serve receive who will attempt to play the ball out with 3 hits. Coach serves to this rotation 3 times and then the players will wave through with the A line coming off the court, shagging balls and then getting in the end of the lines. The B line or the back line will become the front row, and the coach will now come onto the court in the back row, set a goal of a number of good plays from serve receive back over the net to end the drill.
Hitting drills. Hitting to partner or wall. Players need a partner and ball facing each other on the 10 feet, and the end line partners will take turn tossing with two hand underhand. A high toss to self and hitting the ball to the floor and to partner shag and repeats. The arm swing or their hit should be a large and sweeping power should be added as control is gained. Number 1. Tennis ball hits. Each player has a tennis ball line. Your players up in 3 hitting lines on one side of the net and have them work on their footwork and approach to the net and then throw the tennis ball over the net and down to the floor or the opposite side. This helps to teach hitters to extend their arms when hitting the ball. Make sure your players are careful that tennis ball do not roll back under the feet of the hitters. Flamenco hitting warm-up. Coach Toses sits the hitter in the hitting line, plays 2 or 3 hitting lines with coaches or one side of the net. Players should start in front of the 10-foot line for this warm-up. Have players start in a flamenco stand, standing on one foot with other foot off the ground and arms back as if ready to do a footed broad jump. Coaches tosses ball about 5 feet higher than the net so that the hitter can flamenco jump and hit as player gets the hang of the flamenco. Have them move back to the 10-foot line and use their full 3 or 4 step approach. Coaches will have to toss a higher set on this. Number 3. The hit transition. Coaches tosses sets from the sitting zone to one player at a time. Players start at 10-foot line, does an approach and hit the toss, then transition quickly back to the 10-foot line and repeats. Coaches tosses pie ball in pretty rapid succession. When player is on 4th hit, coach yells next up so that the next player is ready to go. Number 4. Hitting lines. Hitters are in single file lines or in 10-foot line at each front row hitting position, one more side of the net, with the sitters in the sitting position at the net. Coaches tosses the sitters. Sitter sets the hitter in one of the lines. Hitters hit, shag, hand and return to hitting line. If you have 2 or 3 sitters, have them set a certain number and then switch, or have them set for 5 and switch.
Thank you, Ms. De La Cruz. And now let us proceed in demonstrating the fatigue shots. One player starts in the left front and receives a high outside set or toss and attempts to successfully hit into the opponent's court. Hitter transition to the 10-foot ready for the next set. If the first set attempts is good, the next hit attempt should be a tip into opponent's court. If the tip is good, she goes back to the hit and so on. If a hit or tip is not successful, the player continue with that type of shot until it's good before moving to the other type. Player needs 3 good hits and 3 good tips to retire from the drill, or whatever goal is appropriate for your level. Option like player hits a good line shot, a good deep corner shot, a middle off speed, a sharp cross court, and a line tip. Player cannot move to the next type until successfully hitting first shot. And let us now proceed to the hitting drills. First is the around the cone. Place 3 hitters in a single file line in the 10-foot line. Coach tosses a set to the hitters in the line who approach and hit the ball and then sprint back around the cone placed on the end line beyond the hitters. The group of hitters must complete 10 good hits to get out of the drill. That's all for my demonstration. Let us now proceed on hitting machine to be demonstrated to you by Miss Ilag.
Fatigue shots. Hitting machine. Place 3 to 5 hitters on the 10-foot line and left front. The first player in line will receive a toss set in left front position from the coach, which the hitter will approach and hit. Then the next player in line repeats the drill. Have each player in this group go through the drill a total of 3 times. You can also do this drill with only one player and have the player consecutively go through the drill two or three times for conditioning as well as hitting.
So hello again, I am Isabel Aliran from BSTM2A. So for today's, I'm going to discuss the blocking drills or the footwork or the blocking footwork. So the blocking footwork players can start in the single file line in the left front. So the first player in the line moves up to a blocking position on the net and jump to block. Just to block the ball. And also, she then uses her blocking footwork to move to middle front and does another blocking jump there. And she then uses her blocking footwork to move to the right front and does a third blocking jump there and the falls in at the end of the line. Next one is coast-to-coast blocking. So in the coast-to-coast blocking, this blocking drills is done against hitting the lines or sees the hitting lines drill previously listed. And then place one blocker in the middle front across the net from the hitting lines. This blocker will be blocked against all 3 hitting position, always returning to the middle front position before transitioning to go against whichever hitter is the set.
Thank you, Miss Oro and Miss Elioran. So the next topic is defense drills. Number 1 is 10 touch drill. One player should start out in middle back position and coach is positioned in middle front. Coach is going to randomly toss or hit balls and players need to touch 10 of them to get out of the drill. This should be a very fast-paced drills and is designed to touch the player to move quickly and to get the ball in this drill. Court boundaries should not be observed. Players should play everything. Coaches do not have to be playable and the ball just has to be touched. Really challenge your players on this one. Number 2, the circle pit drill. All players from a circle on one side of the court. Each player on the perimeter of the circle has a ball. One player is a digger. In the center of the circle, each player with the ball will hit the ball to the digger, who will attempt to dig the ball back to that player. After each hit, the digger turns slightly to face the next player on the perimeter who will be the next one to hit the ball. Number 3, the 2-touch drill. Have 2 players positioned in the backcourt, splitting the court in 2. Coach is at the net with the cart of balls and the handler the court hits lat tosses to one of the player in the backcourt. That player plays the ball to her partner and then the partner plays the ball back to the coach. Number 4 is the hitters versus the diggers. Split your teams into 2 groups, hitters and diggers. Hitters each have a ball and are lined up along a volleyball sideline, shoulder to shoulder, about 7 feet apart from one another. Diggers are lined up each across from a hitters approximately 15 to 20 feet away from the hitters. Each hitter is going to toss himself and hit a ball to the diggers across from her or him. The digger will dig and then shuffle to the right to face the next hitters.
Next, we have hit tip drill, simulating a block ball into the court. For this drill, the coach is teaching the team where to place themselves to cover the blockers or to focus observing the blockers. The main purpose of this drill is developing the ability to tip accurately, but it also allows blockers to work on getting off the net quickly so they're ready to make a full hitting approach. Plus, it's great for practicing communication between players.
So now I will discuss the last topic in this chapter, the game situations drill. First game situation drill is chase the ball. Players line up in two single file lines, side by side one another in left front near the net. Coach slaps the ball or says go, and the first player in each line run out into the court as the coach tosses a high ball deep into the court. The first player who reaches the ball passes it up so that the second player can pass the ball either back to the coach or over the net. Set a goal of a number of successful passes back to the coach or over the net. We do this over the net and usually try to have the contact be a down ball rather than a pass over. It's a great drill for working on chasing after an errant first pass, and it also works on communication between players. Next one is the serving side versus playing side. Line players up on one side as you would in a game. The other side is just serving. Each server serves 5 attempts in a row. The playing side plays the ball out. Depending on your skill level, you can have the playing side simply pass, pass it over, or pass, set, pass it over, or pass, set, hit it over. The playing side earns a point each time they successfully play the ball over whichever method you are using. For example, the pass, or the pass, set, pass it over. Whatever method will do. The playing side rotates with each new server. If you have 12 players, you can have the playing side rotate amongst themselves, and after all 6 players have served on the serving side, have the teams switch roles. Playing side becomes servers and servers becomes playing side. Keep score and see which playing side can earn the most points. Or if you have more or less than 12 players, you can just rotate servers into the playing side, having the left back player rotate out of the drill and over the serving side, and have a new player rotate into the left front and set a team goal of 15 or 20 points, or even 10 points of pass, or 10 points of pass, set, pass, and 10 points of pass, set, hit. Okay, for the third one is the hitting lines versus defense. Place 6 players in defensive formation on one side of the court. The remaining players and a setter should line up in hitting lines on the other side. Coach tosses the ball to the setter on the hitting side. Setter sets to one of the hitters in hitting line. The defensive side plays defense against the hit and tries to play the ball all the way out back over the net. Any method will do: pass, or pass, set, hit. Rotate the defensive players every 5 tosses to the setter. toss 25 balls for the setter to set the hitters and then switch the hitting team and the defending team. You can also do this with all the hitters hitting just from one position to focus on defending that particular player.
So hello again guys. So in behalf of my group member, we would like to thank all of you for listening and watching this video. We hope that we discuss properly our report and you learn something from our report. Always remember that safety comes first as you learn these skills and techniques. As skills improve, the player's expectations will increase. As player learns, they will start to expect to be more successful. I really believe in this quote by Alice Gates. You have to be willing to fail to improve. It talks about the importance of practice and the desire to attempt new things. When you hit a brick wall, sometimes you have to back up a step and look for a loose brick. That's all. Thank you and God bless us all.